Hello, everybody. We are here with our live show for Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. As always, I am with my lovely friend Kat from For the Love of Books.
Hi.
And today we're discussing our January book. It's the middle of February. So we decided to read Zenith in January. It came out on January 16th, I think. And we finally get to do the live show. So, as usual, the first couple of minutes we will do our non-spoiler thoughts, and then we will go into spoilers after the first few minutes. So, Kat, would you like to start?
Sure. Am I echoing?
You're not echoing, but it froze for a little second.
I'm echoing. Wait, no, I'm not echoing anymore. Okay. All right, I was echoing for a second. All right, so Zenith is we all know what this book is about. It's pretty hyped up on BookTube. It's space opera and outer space kind of thing. And I actually was quite surprised at how much I enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars, but I was honestly not expecting much because I was hearing a lot of negative reviews on this book. I was hearing a lot of positive things too, but overall, my Goodreads and everyone mentioning this book, it was just very either people saying it was not worth the hype, and then other people saying that they absolutely did not like this book. So I kind of went into this book with very low expectations. I was trying not to let the negative reviews cloud my judgment, and I was also trying not to let the fact that I love Sasha Alsberg and I love her channel. I was trying not to let my love for the author obscure my reading. You know, I don't want to love the book simply because I love the author. That's not how it works. But I was pleasantly surprised. I thought the book was fun. I thought it was really fast-paced and action-packed. And while I don't feel any like super attachment to the main character Androma, I feel like she's a carbon copy of Selena Sardathian from the Throne of Glass series, and I'm not a big fan of Selena, so I don't have too many attachments to the main character, but I love the female friendship in this book, and I really liked how it was just so fun. It was just such a fun read, and I love the ending. It was just I can't believe it left it where it did, and because the next book doesn't come out till next year. But yeah, I think it's good that I went into this book with low expectations because it definitely made me feel like I loved this book even more because of that.
I didn't really have a lot of expectations going in. I was excited that it was coming out, but like I kind of didn't know what it was about. I just knew about the whole space pirates thing. I gave it 4 stars, and I really enjoyed it overall. And I also had some comparisons as well that we can talk about later. But overall, I enjoyed it. And also I'll talk about later why I bumped it down a star. But I think it was a solid introduction. And I've read some of Lindsay Cummings' work before. I've read her Murder Complex duology, and I'm a huge fan of those and a huge fan of hers. So I knew I wanted to read this, but I didn't really have many expectations as far as Sasha was concerned. But overall, I enjoyed it. So I think we go into spoilers now. So where should we start?
Well, characters.
Let me tell you, speaking of characters, because there's so many, I was not a fan of the multiple perspectives, which is why I bumped it a star.
So here's one thing. I actually tabbed my book just a little. There's 4 tabs. 3 of them I didn't like the multiple perspectives either, but it was a lot easier than I expected to keep up with who the characters were. However, one thing that I did not like is that you know how every chapter it tells you whose perspective it's on, like the name of the chapter is the name of the person we're going to be reading from. It changed perspective within every book, within a chapter. So for example, on chapter 6 we are reading from Dex's perspective, and I even put a tab to where we start reading from Selena's point of view, and I'm like, how does Dex know what she's feeling and what he's thinking if we're reading from his perspective? And it really, really bothered me. And again, on chapter,
I think you said we were reading from Selena's point of view.
Oh, whatever, Androma's, whatever. So chapter 17, we are reading from Androma's perspective, and guess what? On a few pages later, right here at the bottom, we start reading from Dex's perspective.
Wait,
so
I'm still trying to find chapter 6.
So I didn't necessarily mind the whole like every other chapter changing perspectives, but I didn't like how within every chapter the perspective changed. Like all of a sudden we're supposed to be reading from Dex's perspective. That's what the chapter said, and then all of a sudden the chapter starts reading from Androma's perspective as if Dex got inside her mind, and I was just like, what is going on? It's bad enough that we have so many different perspectives every other chapter, but if you're gonna tell us, hey, we're reading this chapter from Androma's perspective, we're reading this chapter from Lyra's perspective, why are you changing the perspective in the middle of a chapter? It really bugged me, and actually that is a reason why I bumped down a star, because I feel like they didn't do the whole changing perspectives very well.
I guess when I was reading, I didn't really think about it as like somebody else's perspective. Like
on chapter 6.
What page is chapter 6 again?
Chapter 6 is page 44.
Okay.
Okay, and then on page 46. It says, his words sent a spike of rage straight through Andy's heart. It's like right at the top. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines down.
Found it.
How would he know that his words sent a spike of rage to her heart? Like, how does he know that? That's something that we should be getting from Andy's perspective, not through his perspective. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was just little things like that I noticed that I was like, how could you possibly know that? So it bugged me. It happened quite often in the book. So, but that's really my only biggest complaint for this book.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about it because, like, I started this book like the last week of January, and I was reading it for a while, and I finished it like right at the beginning of February. So I think it's just because it's such a long book. Like, I didn't think about stuff that happened like way early on, like the stuff like little stuff like that where I wouldn't think about it. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, with the changing perspectives, I was at first when it stayed with like Andy for the first couple, I was fine, but then suddenly we're switching to somebody called Nor, and I'm like, well, who is this? And I didn't know what was going on. But like after reading it for a little bit, I got the hang of it because this is such a long book.
Yeah. And I appreciated that because the book was so long that the chapters were really, really short.
Yes, I liked, and especially at the end when they're like,
yeah, because I was like flying through the book because the chapters were so short. It made me feel like I was making progress.
Yeah, that's how I felt too, especially on the last day of reading it. Because like towards the end of reading it, I started reading like more and more and more.
What did you think of Dex as a love interest?
I don't know how I feel about it. Like, they already had prior history.
I feel like he's nobody special. Like, you know, like how people are some like dark hardcore, like they have hardcore OTPs. He's not someone who would be like a hardcore OTP for me with Androma.
I feel like towards the end he like really started to like stand out a little bit because he was more on their side. But like I didn't really like I didn't really hardcore ship anything in this book. I feel like this book was more like action than it was.
And I do appreciate that there wasn't a lot of like it wasn't heavily focused on their romance. In fact, I do appreciate that the friendship kind of took more of a driver's seat instead of romance. I feel like a lot of people tended to I feel like a lot of books tend to put the romance on emphasis and then the friendships aside. And I like it's kind of like the opposite.
Yeah, this was like a lot of like girl power in their space pirate group.
Yeah.
Which while we do have in YA a lot of female protagonists, I think it's really great to see an all girl crew though.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, kind of, and going back to making comparisons, I agree with what you think. How Andy is very similar to Selena from Throne of Glass. I completely agree with that. Even though I've only read the 2 Throne of Glass books. But I also, and I told you this too when I started reading, I made a lot of comparisons to the Lunar Chronicles. More specifically, after Cinder, so from like a Scarlet or Crest to the end of the series, because a lot of that takes place in space. If you haven't read the Lunar Chronicles before, so the kind of like the whole like in space vibe of this book reminded me a lot of that, and also Nor reminded me a lot of Lavanna from Lunar Chronicles. The whole like evil queen taking over the galaxy thing. That like I made a lot of Lunar Chronicles comparisons in this case.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
Once I found out that Nor was the evil queen, I was like, Lunar Chronicles.
A lot of people, like, I know you haven't read it, but a lot of people on the reviews that I read were comparing this. They were saying that this was a very bad written Six of Crows fanfiction. And having read the Six of Crows duology and really loving that series, I didn't see it. Like, I didn't see that comparison at all. But then again, I didn't see the comparison between this book and the Lunar Chronicles series. So.
Well, plus, like I just thought of this. You can also compare Alfie the AI to Echo.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So, man, that's three connections to the Lunar Chronicles.
Speaking of him, I'm kind of mad that we don't find out that he's okay in this book. Like, Andy gets his memory chip, remember? She gets his memory chip, but we don't, because I guess because she's unconscious, we don't find out if he's okay. And he's like the only one that I was really invested in.
Yeah, he was funny. I like how he was, even though he's an AI system, he was like infatuated with memory, the ship. That was so funny.
Yeah, it's true. He does remind me of a little bit of Aiko, who has like almost like human tendencies, and he does too.
We have 4 viewers, and I know one of them is me. Is one of them you?
Yeah.
So we have 2 viewers. So if you have any questions or comments about Zenith, let us know.
Someone asked who's our favorite YA fantasy villainess.
I was looking at that too. If you have an answer, go ahead.
I was gonna say like I think that Lavanna is really good, but then I feel like that I just thought of that because you were talking about her.
I was gonna say that too. I'd have to look at my shelves because I don't read a lot of fantasy, compared to like how much I read contemporary. Now I don't know. I'd have to like seriously look at my shelves. Anything Marissa Meyer, basically. Lavanna for sure. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now.
Especially in her in her novella.
Yes, that helps. Yeah.
Really bad for her. Yeah.
Let's see. I feel like this book could have been shorter. Like,
oh yeah.
If you don't count the chapters, this entire book is 96 chapters long. Granted, they are short chapters, but this is also how many pages? Like 530, I think.
Yeah, I think 534.
Yeah, I just read another book that was like 530 pages, so I couldn't remember. This is it's 534. This is a seriously long book, and I think even though I was on like a really good reading streak, when I started this book, I feel like this just took me forever. And
I do feel like it got to the point where I was feeling like Throne of Glass. Like I read, like even though I enjoy the stories, I feel like ever since like maybe Air of Fire, which is the third book in the series of Throne of Glass, I feel like the books are just so unnecessarily long, and I feel like she could have cut out so much. And I did feel that a little bit with this book, but I don't know. It wasn't as bad when we read like Aquawar together.
Oh my god, that took forever. Yeah, like I feel Aquawar's like 700 pages.
Yeah, that book. I had to force myself to read that book.
I feel like with this one, I was more worried because there were so many mixed reviews. I was really worried I was going to slump after this book or in the middle of it. Thankfully, I haven't, but I was worried about it.
No, I really I surprisingly really love this book. So, the same person asked, "What's our favorite YA contemporary featuring a diverse female character?" Star from
Hate You Give.
Hate You Give. Like, there's no doubt. It was one of my favorite books last year. It's a really great book if you haven't read it.
The Hate You Give for sure. This isn't a female protagonist. And it's and I just finished this book, and it's Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. And it's a LGBT book.
Yeah.
Very good. I highly Cat have to read
it. It's also really good.
Cat, read it so we can go see the movie. So yeah, that's not a female character, but that's a really good one I just finished. And yes, The Hate You Give as well. And I also think I haven't read it yet, but I think I'm gonna really enjoy When Dimple Met Rishi too. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't heard too much about it. Like people actually talking about that book, whether they like
a lot of great stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah. Another book that it's not out yet, but a diverse female protagonist is Leah on the Offbeat, sequel to Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, also an LGBT book, and that comes out in April, so I'm excited for that too. What else do we want to talk about for Zenith?
Hold on.
I hope book 2 is not like massively long.
It did take me by surprise that Valen was not.
Oh my god.
I started like getting vibes from it when he started acting really like when he forgave. So I was gonna call her Selena again. When he too easily forgave Androma, and he started like hanging out with her, like when they were in the fields and he was painting her. I felt that was weird because throughout the book, he really hated Androma. He really wanted to kill her for what happened. And then all of a sudden, he changes his mind, and it was just a little suspicious. So I started thinking of maybe he's hiding something, but it did take me by surprise at the fact that he was Noor's half-brother. And then I remember, how does that even, where did that come from? And then I remember the scene where the mom has a relationship with whatever that guy is, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot actually about the perspectives from Claren.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the thing is, it's Claren is
bad for Claren too. How the way she died, I felt really bad for her.
Yeah. But no, Claren is kidnapped by the opposing people. And she has this like power to like make people love her, I guess, and she has the general fall in love with her, and they have Valen, and
then he kills her.
Yeah, because he recognizes what's happening now. I'm trying to find Zenith number 2 on here on Goodreads to see if there's any info, but I can't find it.
I'm assuming it'll be released sometime next year too. Because I always see like Sasha's updates, like how they're working on the book together or something.
Yeah, I think they're together in Boston right now because there was something about that.
Yeah.
2019. Did you ever read? Now, some people may not know this, but Zenith was released as a part 1 at the end of 2016. It was just like a part 1 before they even got the deal to sign. And I read that. Did you ever read that?
Wait, what? Oh, the little part now.
Yeah, I kind of want to.
I don't like that whole. I was thinking about it, but then when it came out that people were saying that it's only 62 pages and we were paying $3 for it, I'm like, no, I'm not about the whole like episodic thing. I'm like, I'll just wait for the whole book to come out once it comes out in a few years. Like, I was actually, even though I didn't pay for that little snippet, I was actually mad about it. I was like, you're gonna. Because when I remember watching Sasha's announcement video, and I was so excited. Oh, they're writing a book together. 62 pages is not a book, honey. It's like it's like a chapter for some authors. It's like a chapter for Sarah J. Maas. Do not come at me trying to buy your book that's only 62 pages. That actually pissed me off. I was like, hell no. Am I paying $3 for something that's 62 pages? No, don't come at me with that. No.
Well, but remember, it's part 1, and there were supposed to be more parts, and then they got.
I was like, I'll just wait for all the parts to be out. Like, hell no.
Yeah, but then they got the book deal anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, no, but that really made me mad. I was like, no.
I kind of want to like go back and read part 1 and see like how it differs from the actual book, because I'm sure this book, it went through like extensive. Huh?
You actually bought that little thing?
I actually don't remember. I think I might have got it when it was on sale, but I don't remember.
Oh my God.
I thought it was like $2.
I think it was like either $1.99 or $2.99. I don't remember.
$1.99. But I kind of want to go back and read that and see how it differs, because I'm sure everything that they wrote, even that first little bit, went through like extensive editing. So I kind of want.
Did you see what Natasha Davis says?
Hold on, I'm going back to it. There we go.
She said, do you think Lindsay Cummings teamed up with Sasha just so the book can gain popularity, since Sasha has a large following? I've seen quite a few people accuse Lindsay of that. I don't think so, but I do think that both girls took advantage of how popular Sasha is, but I don't think that Lindsay herself teamed up with Sasha just for the publicity, you know what I mean? But I do feel like they definitely took advantage of how, especially when that first little snippet came out, that little snippet, that little 62-page booklet, I'm not even gonna call it a book, a booklet, a little novella, that thing would not have reached #1 in the New York Times bestseller if it wasn't for Sasha. I'm not even gonna lie. And yeah, I'm like, I love Sasha to death, and I actually really like Lindsay too, and I actually really enjoyed this book, but like I'm very salty about that little in drama part 1, Zenith part 1 thing, because if it wasn't for Sasha and her hyping it up on her channel, yeah, no, they would have never gotten to be a #1 New York Times bestseller. But I don't necessarily think that Lindsay did it just to become, because of Sasha's popularity.
I've heard, well, I haven't heard like a ton of this, but I've always speculated. The way I see it, there are other YouTubers who have a bigger following than Sasha. Sasha does have a huge following, but you also have Christine from Poland Bananas Books, who I think, is she over 300,000 now? I think so.
She's almost 400,000.
Almost 400. Okay, yeah. So like she has a bigger following by like 200,000 over Sasha. There are plenty of other YouTubers who have.
Hold on, wait.
Are you looking this up?
No, because I always follow this. Sasha only has maybe like 15,000 less than. She's the second most highest book.
Okay. So yes, Sasha has popularity. She's always had popularity as long as I've watched her and been subscribed to her. But if it was a whole thing about popularity, why not partner up with Christine? I think, and okay, this is kind of, I don't know if this is really considered controversial, but you know, many big name YouTubers such as Sasha are the ones to work with publishers often, and I think Sasha was such a big rooter for Lindsay in the very beginning of Lindsay's career, back when the Murder Complex came out, because she is in Lindsay's acknowledgments in the Murder Complex. So I think that they've just been friends for a while, and that's when they decided to write a book. I don't necessarily think Lindsay handpicked Sasha for this, because the Murder Complex has been out for a while. It's probably been out for about 4 years now. I think they started as friends when she was reviewing her book, and they just decided to do this together. I don't necessarily think it's because of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I'm pretty sure I remember Sasha did a video where she was really excited that she was in the acknowledgments of the Murder Complex, and I'm pretty sure she is. I could look at the book, but it's over there.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't think Lindsay necessarily picked. I think it just happened, and you know, Sasha being such a big booktuber is what contributed to the book being so popular and being so successful.
I also think it's a lot of hard work that comes with with doing this. Like if you look at Christine, she just got her signed for her book deal, and she did 10 plus rewrites of it, and even Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey has written multiple books and is revising different ones, but she doesn't have a book deal yet. So I think it just puts in it's hard work. So you have to put in the hard work to actually get there, and I think Sasha did that. But she also had Lindsay, though, who's been in this game before.
Yeah.
Well, plus Zenith isn't done by the same publishing house as Lindsay's other books.
Oh, really?
The Murder Complex is done by Green Willow. I don't know about the Balance Keepers, which is her middle grade books, but I think this is done by Harlequin. Yeah, Harlequin Teen. Now I don't know if Green Willow is an off-print of Harlequin, but I don't think so. So yeah, that was my little spiel.
No, I agree. I don't think it was done necessarily just to be successful, but I mean, it is what it is. Sasha is a big booktuber. She's very popular, and you know she's using her platform to promote her book. And you know what? Because of that, her book is successful. And you know I don't blame her for that. If I was in her position, I would do the same thing. I would blast my book to my channel. So that's how it is. And honestly, I think it's gonna happen. The same thing's gonna happen to Christine's book. Her book is gonna reach the New York Times bestseller because she's such a big popular booktuber, and people are gonna buy her book not because they love Christine. I know I will probably pick up her book just to read it and see, but
I hate the title of it.
Huh?
I hate the title of it.
Really? I actually like the title of it.
Again, but I don't know. When she announced it, I was just like, what? Really? But I mean, yeah, I'm totally gonna pick it up. Can we make it a read-along book?
And from the title, it sounds like it's something you're going to enjoy. It sounds like it's going to be like a little contemporary.
Frankly, because I've started a book before. I actually got 30,000 words into writing a novel back in 2015, I think, 2014 or 2015. If right now, I don't have the time, nor do I have the patience to write the entire thing, then go through and rewrite the entire thing. But I feel once after college, then yeah, maybe if I have the time, I will sit down and I will finish that book, because I'm what I wrote, I am proud of, and I think now I have more experience with a certain aspect of it to be able to write it from what I know.
I think I feel like I'm one of like a very small percentage of booktubers who have no interest in being a writer. I have absolutely no interest in putting myself through that. No, thank you. Like it's hard work, and I'll leave it for the people who want to put themselves through that. And you know what? If you create a good piece of work, good for you. But I feel like I just want to enjoy reading, and I don't want to write ever.
I don't write as much as I used to. Like after I graduated high school, almost 2 years ago now, I like my writing just was at a standstill, and I took a creative writing class a couple semesters ago, I think over the summer, and I just like I think forcing myself to write is a poor choice, and if I want to write, then I'll write, but right now I just don't have the time, and I don't want to force myself to do it. I'd rather read right now. Let's see. We have another question that you just answered in the comments. I would love to see Jesse or Kat follow in Sasha's footsteps to write a YA novel, each in their own right. Do you think it is a good idea? I do think it's a good idea. I happen to think that Kat might write and publish first.
Yeah, because she's done writing videos, so I'm assuming she's like working on something on her own. I don't know about Jesse. Like I don't.
He just posted
a writing blog. Yeah, I think he just posted a writing blog, so it's possible that him also is working on something.
Yeah, I think Kat is actually how I discovered BookTube. Katie-tastic. I think it's Katie-tastic. And I discovered her from her like very, very early, like 2011, writing blogs, or not blogs, but like writing videos. So I think she would be the first between the two of them, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I agree. I think I would be interested in reading a book by Kat, because she's just like, her personality is so different compared to like Christine and Jesse, that I feel like her book is going to be more towards what I would like to read. I don't know. I feel like Jesse would write something really sappy and contemporary, like like Christine. By the title of the book, it sounds like it's a contemporary, but I feel like Kat would be one of those people who will write like a Cassandra Clare type of book, something that's really good, and then she just kills everybody at the end. So I feel like that would be Kat. And I was just like, great.
Let's see. We have another question that says, what's your favorite YA book that takes place over the course of a school year? Harry Potter.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see. Look at my bookshelves.
That's what I'm doing too. Harry Potter for sure.
It's also really good. It takes over like a person's first college year. So
what did you say?
Fangirl is really good.
Fangirl for sure.
Oh my God!
The Hate You Give. This is old school, but Twilight.
Oh God! Please.
Have you ever actually read Twilight?
I read the first book, and I read half of the second book, and the second book I wanted to throw it in the fire.
Well, the second book is the worst one.
Exactly.
Worst one. You just got to power through it to get the last one. Yeah, Fangirl, Harry Potter, Twilight. No, that doesn't follow.
I don't really have a favorite YA book that takes place besides Harry Potter. Yeah.
I'm trying just to remember the ones that follows over. I'll say it again. Simon versus the Homo Sapiens agenda. It's not over the course of a school year. It's over the course of like a couple months, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any more thoughts on Zenith? I don't really have anything else. I think this is like one of the best live shows ever. We have like five viewers right now. One is you, one is me, so we have 3 viewers right now. Do you have any more questions? Comments?
What did you think of? Oh, you froze.
Hey, you're back.
Okay, all right.
Can you hear me?
Do you have any predictions for the next book?
Oh,
like how they're gonna break the whole I can control your brain now kind of thing.
Well, before I answer that question, I then have to discuss the cliffhanger that we have. The general dies, and before he dies, he leaves
Androma.
He leaves Andy in charge of everything.
Of his part of the galaxy, yeah.
Yeah. So I better get a damn good sequel.
That was a really good ending. I'm not gonna lie.
That was a great ending. And the thing is, I saw somebody tweet before I had finished the book how they were like how we're just like, oh my god, I can't believe there was that cliffhanger, and that was hilarious. Now that I saw it, or now that I read it.
Yeah. I don't know how they're gonna like break the whole mind cursing, mind thing.
Yes.
But
yeah, because all of the crew has it. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the whole crew. They're all, and it was funny. Like Lyra's chapter after she was brainwashed. It was interesting to read from her perspective. Like she's adoring she's adoring the new queen, and it was just really creepy actually too.
Yeah. Oh, this book is gonna definitely be crazy long to sort out that big mess.
Yeah.
Let's see. 2 other questions, both from the same person. We have Happy Contemporary-thon. Why are you not doing a recommendation video? I'm not participating in Contemporary-a-thon. I don't have time right now, with school and work and this. So that's why I didn't post a recommendation video for Contemporary-a-thon. But I did post a recommendation video yesterday of my favorite books with romance for Valentine's Day. What's your reason, Kat?
I'm not doing it because I don't read a lot of contemporary, so that's more Chloe's thing. I read a lot of fantasy and sci-fi, but occasionally I will pick out a book that is contemporary, but I can't do a recommendations video because all of the books that I would recommend, number 1 would be Fangirl, and then all the other books will be Sarah Dessen books. So yes. I can't do a recommendations video because it will all be from mostly the same author.
Yeah, and I probably won't do another recommendation video for a while. I only did that one because I needed something Valentine's Day themed.
And she asked, what are your most anticipated new I am so looking forward to Obsidio. You need to freaking read Illuminate. It's so good.
Well, I have no choice because we're going to read Obsidio.
And the 3rd book in Amber and the Ashes trilogy by Sabatihir. I'm really looking forward to that book.
That doesn't come out in March. It comes out in June.
I'm also looking forward to the final book in the Throne of Glass series, not because like that I have like a love-hate relationship with that series, but because it's finally the last book. And if Sarah J. Maas does something be like, oh, to be continued at the end, I'll be so mad. I'll be so angry. I can't. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the story finally wraps up after freaking 6 long-ass books.
As far as releases for March, I am anticipating Obsidio, even though I haven't read the first 2 books. I think that's the only one for March. But since we're discussing other month releases, Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli comes out in April. From Twinkle with Love comes out in June. Put In by Julie Murphy, I think that comes out in April, but I don't remember. On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. There's a whole ton of them. My Plain Jane. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of.
Do you think Sasha says she's gonna try to work on a new book by herself? Do you think that? What do
Project
you think of that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you think it's gonna be sci-fi fantasy, or is she gonna try her hand at contemporary? I don't know. I feel like I was surprised when because from what I watched for her videos, she's very like sweet. So I was surprised when this book was. So I'm expecting her other book to be like contemporary too.
I think her other book is gonna be like a fantasy.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's called Project Red. I feel like it's gonna be something bloody. Well, like that's just like the cover title for it now. We have a random non-bookish question that I can't answer. Maybe you can answer this. What 90s ABC TGIF sitcom do you like better? What?
Boy Meets World. It is the best show from the Boy Meets World. It's like the best show.
I'll take your word.
In the night.
I can't
like a sitcom.
I can't answer this question because I'm only 20 and I was born in 97.
That doesn't mean anything. Okay.
I didn't watch.
You're very. Most of these are still on TV if you find them.
I still don't watch any. Find them. Like I remember.
Don't watch practically. Like all the books. Like, have you seen this? No. Have I seen this? No.
I'm sorry. Like I remember Full House. I never really cared about it, and I remember Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and I also never really cared about it.
Yeah, Full House was okay.
Yeah.
Like we've been getting off.
Yeah, I think we ran out of stuff for Zenith. So I guess if you have any more questions or comments, now is your chance, and we'll start to wrap things up. Then I guess, unless you have anything else to add.
It was a good book. For those of you who are kind of like skeptical about reading it, give it a chance because it's actually it took me by surprise, like by how much I liked it. And I know there's a lot of people out there who didn't like it, and while I respect their opinion, I'm glad that I kind of gave the book a chance because I actually ended up really enjoying it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, like after reading it, I was like, Kat doesn't think she's gonna like it. I think she might like it. I don't know. But I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was good.
So yeah, I agree. Now this is take it from me, who doesn't read very much sci-fi. I liked it. And it's really hard for me to find a fantasy or a sci-fi that I like. It's hard. That's probably why I read so much contemporary. But I really enjoyed this. I like the whole space pirates aspect. I give it 4 stars, and I will read the second one. And I think if you're still in the middle about reading this book, I think you should at least give it a chance. Like definitely like check it out from the library if you're really unsure about it, and give it a go.
Yeah.
Just know that it's very long.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll talk about next month then. Which is really this month, the February book of the month. February book of the month, which came out on January 28th, I think. No, I don't know. 28th or 30th, I have no idea. But our February book of the month is Wires and Nerves, Volume 2, Gone Rogue by Marissa Meyer, the second and, as far as we know, final book in her graphic novel series that follows Aiko. I am so excited for this. Yes, this is our February book of the month, so it'll take you an hour to read it. So make sure you pick up a copy from your library, your store, wherever you need to get it to join us for our live show, which will be on Sunday, March 4th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel.
Yep.
And make sure for any updates, check us out on Twitter at Once Read Along. That's where we do any date changes, announcements, everything. It's on Twitter. So do we have any other last minute questions or comments before we go? Okay, well, somebody asked, what are your plans for the next live show? And then they said they had to leave. So our plans for our next live show are Wires and Nerve Volume 2 Gone Rogue, Sunday, March 4th, Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Yeah. Anything else to add, Kat?
No, we're good. I'm excited for the next book. Read the next book.
Yes, I'm so excited. All right. So thank you guys for joining us for our Zenith live show. And we hope to see you for our Wires and Nerf Live show. So we will see you guys on March 4th. Bye.